Hello, welcome back to another PAP Reports. Today is Friday 24th of January 2020 and today we're starting with another update. But this update is not from one of the previous PAP reports. In fact, this is an update for an incident that happened back in April last year. And the video I'm referring to can be found in the description, but I'll also pop a link to it up here. The incident itself, in brief, was this one. Now, that's a situation that many people were disgusted by in the way that the police constable behaved himself. Well, you'll be glad to know that 9 months on, actually I can't even joke about it because you won't be pleased at all. Detective Constable Kevin Rowley, the clear attacker in this incident, was found not guilty of assault by beating following a trial at Hendon Magistrates Court. Prosecutor Arabella MacDonald said it was the Crown's case that the use of force on April 22nd last year was unlawful and that Rowley had been exaggerating about Mr Vassell's behaviour. Hendon Magistrates Court heard how DC Rowley struck the male some 5 times with his baton after he and a colleague tried to perform a stop and search on 2 youths on Heath Park Road in Romford, East London. Footage of the incident went viral on social media, which appeared to show the complainant, 18-year-old Tyrell Vassell, shouting, "You can't do this, I'm a child." Yet again, mainstream media using the word appeared when in fact it's factually evident. Now I get why they say appeared if it's not clear, but not a single person couldn't tell or hear what that lad was saying in that video. District Judge Tan Ikram has allowed DC Rowley to escape punishment, saying that what the prosecution have not done is satisfy me that when the officer acted at the time that he was using force which was not reasonable. Therefore, for these reasons, I find the defendant not guilty. He also said that I don't find he was exaggerating. In fact, some of the witnesses went so far as to say Mr Vassell was uncontrollable. Uncontrollable? No shit, Ikram. Wouldn't you be uncontrollable if somebody was raining blows down on you with a steel baton? Dickhead. MacDonald prosecuting said the footage was so clear that use of force was not reasonable or necessary, but Rowley called these claims nonsense during his cross-examination. Rowley claims he saw 18-year-old Tyrell Vassell and a friend with a wad of cash and then told the boys they were going to search them for drugs after apparently smelling cannabis. That old chestnut. He then went on to say that he had put the teenager in a headlock, took him to the floor and took hold of his wrists as the other police officer chased the other youth who had fled. I'm now alone with an agitated and aggressive male who is not complying and made it clear from the start with his words of, "You ain't searching me, I know my rights," Rowley told the court. Well, of course he's going to be agitated if you say I'm going to search you and then get him in a fucking headlock. He said that he had told Mr Vassell to calm down and explained he was handcuffing him for his safety, which resulted in a struggle between them. "At first I thought that had worked," he said. "He just lost it. He got more aggressive and got to his feet." Rowley told the court he had delivered 2 to 3 knee strikes to the teenager to the thigh, adding, "I wasn't trying to hurt him, all I was trying to do was detain him. I had gone through handcuffs, verbal commands, knee strikes. My only option was to draw my baton." He said that he hit the lad 5 times on the thighs as per their safety training, proclaiming that he said, "I did not want to use force, but I will if you do not comply." As if the police ever say that. It's more like, do as you're fucking told or I'm going to beat you. Speaking after the verdict, Met Police Federation Chairman Ken Marsh said he was pleased with the result and called for better understanding of the threats officers encounter on a daily basis. He said it's very easy to make accusations over the conduct and actions of police officers from the comfort of a desk, but we would ask people to walk a day in our boots to experience the extreme challenges we face. Now, I'm not for a moment suggesting that police don't face some extreme situations, because it's clear they do, but maybe if you stopped being extreme arseholes, then that might mitigate some of the extreme challenges that you're faced with. Mr Marsh added, What this case has once again shown is that it's vital in 2020 that my hard-working colleagues are not judged and juried by social media. You mean are not judged by anyone, because that's clearly the route you're all trying to take. No wonder Scotland Yard don't want to allow community monitoring groups access to body-worn videos to make sure the police are acting lawfully. Another update to a previous video, again, not a PAP report, but this is from before these PAP reports started. Many of you will remember PC Stuart Alton. PC Alton was the unfortunate cop in this video.
But on the floor, there's the guy who hits me.
Well, 56-year-old Mohammed Rodwan, the attacker in this incident, who clearly tried to kill the police constable with a huge machete, turns out not only to be a convicted rapist, but also have convictions for 2 previous machete attacks. The trial at the Old Bailey heard how PC Stuart Alton managed to subdue his attacker using his taser, even though he had serious head wounds from the attack. Alton was struck by the 2-foot blade 6 times during a routine stop of a van, suspected of having no insurance, the Old Bailey heard. The brutal attack left him with severe head injuries and needing months of surgery. However, handyman Mohammed Rodwan was found not guilty of attempted murder, although was found guilty of wounding with intent. He was also cleared of possession of an offensive weapon, arguing that as a handyman he used a machete as a tool. Really? Well, there you have it, guys. Get yourselves out and pick up a 2-foot-long machete, keep it in your car, and as long as you can say you use it for work, you know, or maybe tell them you shave with it. I don't know. It's all good. What a disgraceful fucking outcome. There may be a lot of bad police out there, but even at the time I made sure to let people know I had respect for this cop, and for the courts to not find an attempted murder charge, in my opinion, is absolutely appalling. To me, wounding wouldn't be striking someone several times in the skull with a 2-foot blade. That's not the target you go for when you're trying to wound. That's the target you go for when you're trying to kill. Now, although wounding with intent carries a maximum term of life in prison, you can bet your bottom dollar Rodwan won't see anywhere near that, especially as he's been let off having the blade as well. This incident is, however, now being used to push the fact that all frontline police should have tasers, without and even going as far to say even people who have been tasered before never want to be tasered again because they know how much it hurts. But there is a flip side to this, and that is some people have been tasered before can't be tasered again because tasering can kill people. Now, I understand that the police may need something to protect them, but we the public have nothing to protect us. Even the judicial system fails us in many cases. But let me know what you think about the charges and, you know, and the potential for all police to be issued with tasers in the comments. Greater Manchester Police seem to have gotten themselves into a bit of a pickle after new IT systems were introduced last year. In fact, Greater Manchester Police are unable to tell the government exactly what crime occurred in the second half of 2019 because of its troubled new computer system, IOPS. Sounds an awful lot like PSYOPS. IOPS, the Integrated Police Operating System, a system that was activated more than 6 months ago at a cost of £29 million, was introduced in a move intended to transform technology throughout the force. However, it seems the system has been plagued with errors since its inception, with police staff complaining about loss of information, such as crimes and intelligence. I'm sure there's not many people out there would worry about the intelligence being lost. Due to the system failures, Manchester Police have been unable to provide the government or the public with crime data for July, August and September last year. Deputy Mayor of Greater Manchester, Bev Hughes, said, "Both the Mayor and I continue to challenge Greater Manchester Police on the implementation of IOPS, and senior officers have assured us that they are making progress in addressing concerns and issues with the system." Clearly, the current inability of GMP to provide the Home Office with reliable recorded crime data risks undermining public confidence and affects transparency in the service. It's vital that GMP continues to work hard to swiftly resolve all ongoing issues with IOPS, and I will continue to make that clear to the Chief Constable. Problems with the IOPS system, which was introduced to replace the outdated OPUS system, were flagged up by frontline officers from the moment it was switched on at the start of July. They included lost information, continual crashes, safeguarding concerns, lack of training, and the length of time taken to enter data. At the time, GMP insisted the issues were down to the scale of the IT change it was undertaking and were to be expected. Well, maybe if you get back to policing properly instead of seeking ways to collect and share our data in order to try and control and coerce us, then maybe you wouldn't need a £29 million IT system. Now we're going to talk about something that's not in the UK but concerns public officials and people in authority and should concern you. Something that I'm sure will genuinely shock most of you. Italian police have arrested 18 people, including a mayor, social workers and psychologists, for allegedly brainwashing children into believing their parents had abused them in a scheme to take them away from their families and sell them to foster parents in a scheme worth hundreds of thousands of euros. It's been alleged that a network of social carers have used hours of psychotherapy sessions and electroshock treatment to convince children that their parents had sexually abused them ahead of trials. The investigations, codenamed Angels and Demons, started in the summer of 2018 and found that after the children had been treated, the children would then be sold onto friends and acquaintances of the people involved. It said that the network initially fabricated false reports to take children away from disadvantaged families. Then they proceeded to convince the children that they had indeed been abused. Other methods allegedly implemented included forging childlike drawings to add fake sexual details, falsely describing their parents' homes as derelict, and enacting plays in which social workers, playing the children's parents, disguised as monsters trying to harm them. Authorities said the scheme tried to pass off as a model welfare system for abused minors, what was in reality an illegal business to the children's detriment. The Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte said, "These accusations, if confirmed, are frightening and shocking." No shit. Foster parents the children were sold to included sex shop owners, people with psychological disorders, and parents whose children had taken their lives. Italian media reported that 2 of the children have been sexually abused after being assigned to their new foster parents. Now, police have not disclosed how many children have been involved, but they did say that 18 people have been arrested, with dozens more under investigation, including a mayor, social worker and psychologists. Wow, what world we're living in. Now, if I believed in heaven, which I don't, but if I did, I would say that we're in hell right now. I mean, it's the poor kids. But as we know, kids are suffering around the world and throughout the UK at the hands of social services, carers and the like, other people that were involved in their lives, unfortunately. Now, this last report is courtesy of David Sutton, a subscriber, who sent this to me in a comment. This is one I would have missed, so David, thank you, appreciate that. 63-year-old Leslie Coppock, a former prison guard from Milton Keynes, was arrested last year in February after police executed a warrant at his address in Bridgehook Close, Wolverton Mill, where a number of electrical items were seized and later analysed. The warrant was approved as a result of an inquiry that flagged up that somebody was using the username ST3P to download a Category C image of a child on December the 5th, 2016. Now, nowhere in the reports that I've seen does it suggest why this was important, so I'm guessing that this was maybe his collar number or ID number or whatever it is that prison guards are given. Coppock, in a voluntary interview, said that the items seized were his, accepted he visited adult chat rooms, stated that during conversations, others in those chat rooms would send files to each other, and to view those images they have to be downloaded, and if it was an image he didn't want to see, he would delete it immediately. The prosecution said files found on the system which had been deleted included 177 Category A images, the most severe kind, which showed serious sexual abuse of children, and hundreds of Category B and C images. In addition, Mr. Stringer revealed software capable of masking a user's online activity were found on Coppock's computer. Coppock, who arrived at court, supported himself with a crutch, struggled into court as a result of his online activity, whereby he visited online chat rooms where he downloaded the indecent images shortly after quitting work on medical grounds. James Lofthouse, Coppock's defence, said he himself wasn't seeking out indecent images of children. Quite frankly, those who have a real interest in this over a number of years, the images do not run into thousands, they run into tens of thousands. He was quite happy to look at what he expected to be pornography, but not this type of pornography, and when he found it, he deleted it. There was absolutely no evidence of him entering search terms seeking out particular sites. However, in his police interview, Coppock did admit that he found some of the images of children arousing. James Lofthouse went on to say that he had clearly worked in a difficult and stressful job as a public servant for a long period of time, until, in fact, for medical reasons, he was no longer able to do that job. The breakdown of the job led to him being in these chat rooms. That ill health has now worsened since he put himself in this position. Boo fucking who? Now, forgive me for being cold, but I'm pretty sure that there are plenty of more stressful jobs than working as a prison guard. Why do people think it's acceptable, and why do people accept this fact as a mitigating factor? Personally, I couldn't care less. I couldn't give a shit what job someone has or was in. Stress is not an excuse for this kind of behaviour. Besides, even if he wasn't looking for those images, why didn't he call the police and report them? Why do none of these people who get caught call the police and report the images? Because they blatantly get off on them. That's why. That's the only reason why somebody wouldn't call the police over indecent images. And if anybody says that otherwise, they're just as guilty as the people abusing the children in the first place. Mr. Recorder Taylor sentencing said these are serious offences. They are real children suffering, really suffering behind the offending you have committed. And as someone who downloads images, you are part of their suffering. I think you are beginning to realise that, nonetheless, considering the seriousness of the offence, the type of images you have downloaded, and the period over which you have downloaded them, it seems to me quite clearly the custody threshold is passed by the offending you have committed. There is genuine recognition on your part of the gravity of the offending. I also take into account your career in a difficult profession, which was to the benefit of society. You can now bank your good character for a long-term toll in a profession that we all need to be carried out. Mr. Recorder Taylor gave Coppock a six-month sentence, suspended for 18 months to include 35 days rehabilitation activity, ordered to pay £670 in cost, and made him subject to a sexual harm prevention order with a 7-year notification requirement. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Recorder Taylor's comment, I also take into account your career in a difficult profession, which was to the benefit of society. Sounds to me very much like he's trying to add this, to add to this precedent. It seems that is being played out throughout the judicial system, that those in jobs such as prison, police, judges should be treated more leniently because of the stress of their job. Well, here's a shocker for you, Judge. It doesn't fucking matter what you've done for work. If you break the law, you should be dealt with properly. And if the judicial system doesn't start dealing with these people properly, then I'll predict a bit of an uprising. Bunch of fuckknuckles. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.